I grabbed some flannel fabric from Walmart and a wreath from nicksseasonaldecor.com, and we're going to create the perfect Christmas and July wreath. With this tartan plaid, it makes it nice and easy because we essentially want little square pieces of fabric. So I'm going to begin by just keeping my fabric whole, taking some really sharp scissors that you can also find from Nick's Seasonal Decor, and I am going to cut right between the two different colors. We'll do the same thing again. Most importantly, like I said, really sharp scissors to keep the edges from fraying. And then what we're going to do is we are going to separate each section, and just to make it easy, we're going to just snip the edges off. We have a bunch of individual pieces of fabric. They don't have to be perfect squares, nor do they have to be perfect measurements, but we're aiming for about 3.5 to 4 inches. We're going to just place that little piece of fabric, and we are going to use our scissors with them closed and just poke it right in. Make sure you're poking it in enough that it doesn't come out. You could add a little bit of hot glue, but with this technique that I've been doing for years, it holds in place just with the force of some scissors. And here is how it's looking so far, and I absolutely love this fabric for this wreath. And to continue around, we're going to do the same process. We're going to take a square, place it flat on our styrofoam, take the blunt end of our scissors, and just poke it in. It doesn't have to be perfect. Your placement doesn't have to be perfect. We want everything to be rough sizes. You could also place it on the end of your scissors, and we're also placing a few pieces on the inside just to cover up the styrofoam. In the end, we shouldn't be able to see any styrofoam. And if there is any gaps, like for instance, I'm going to place a piece here, but if we didn't have enough, you could just take some of your fabric and cover it up. Up next, I have this snowy branch that you can also find from nicksseasonaldecor.com, and I'm just going to snip these down individually. And I'll just pull back some of the fabric and poke our greenery right in. And we're going to just do a very simple bow. I don't want to take away from the beautiful fabric, so we're just going to do a couple of loops on either side. And then we'll finish it off with what I call a button loop, which just covers the wire that we use to secure it to the wreath. So 2 loops on either side that are about 2.5 inches. We'll come back in with a final loop right in the middle. Then we have a set of tails that I'll just place underneath, and I'll secure it with a piece of wire. And there we have a very simple bow that now we can attach right between all of those berries and greenery. To finish the ends of your ribbons, you can dovetail or cut at an angle. That's what it looks like cut at an angle. To dovetail, fold your tail in half, cut from the middle out towards the wired edge at an angle, and it just creates a little more of a professional finish. And here is how the wreath looks, you guys, and I absolutely love it. And it was so easy. Each and every one of you is more than capable of doing this. We used a yard of fabric, any fabric will do, a styrofoam wreath, some berries, and some ribbons from nicksseasonaldecor.com. And that is it. You can do this on any scale for any season and any holiday.
Start by removing the metal base from each tree. Gently open up all of the branches, keeping them pointed upward. Arrange the trees in a wreath pattern, with the metal rods pointing inward and overlapping. Then use hot glue to attach the rods to one another. Once the glue has dried completely, use 3 zip ties to secure the rods. Trim any excess plastic as needed. Now it's time to decorate. Start with a big bow in the center. You can use a pre-made bow or make your own. To make your own bow, cut 6 pieces of ribbon of equal length, then glue each strip to form a loop. Arrange the loops in a circle spaced evenly apart and glue together. Open up each loop for a full look, then cut a 7th piece of ribbon to form a loop for the center. Glue that loop in place, then glue your bow to the center of the wreath. Finish decorating the wreath with more ribbons, floral picks, ornaments, or anything else you like, then display your beautiful wreath for the holidays.
Grab everything you need from the dollar store for this unique twist on an advent calendar. You'll need 24 small boxes. They can be assorted sizes or all the same size. Arrange them in 2 circles, one inner and one outer, to determine the width of your wreath. Then use a piece of heavy cardboard to create your wreath shape. Draw the circle and then cut it out using an X-Acto knife or sharp scissors. Wrap the cardboard in anything you like, ribbon, burlap, fabric, making sure all of the cardboard is covered. Now fill your boxes with small gifts. Toys, candy, erasers, accessories, coupons, anything works. Then wrap each box with wrapping paper and finish with coordinating ribbon. For the numbers, you can add a numbered tag to each box or simply write the numbers directly on the boxes. Arrange them on the wreath, leaving room for a bow on the bottom. Attach the bow using a hot glue gun. To attach the boxes, use heavy-duty Velcro strips that have been cut to size. Your wreath's now ready to display and enjoy all holiday season.
You want to grab a big piece of cardboard and we're going to draw 2 circles. This is the easiest way to draw a circle. Tie a piece of string to a Sharpie. Find the middle of the cardboard and hold the string there. And then take the Sharpie and just spin it around in a circle and make sure you keep that center point held tight with your finger. Then I'm going to make the string a little bit shorter and draw a second circle on the inside. Now I'm just going to use a knife to cut these out. I do want the round shape, but I'm not too worried about the edges being perfect here because they're going to be covered up with lots of balloons. Now I need to blow up a bunch of balloons. I have about 40 green balloons and about 8 red balloons. These are regular size balloons, but I'm only going to blow them up about halfway, so they resemble more circles than ovals. You can blow these up the old-fashioned way, or you can grab a balloon pump like this for a couple of dollars from the party section. Makes the job a lot easier. So you want to grab a craft knife, and I am just cutting little X's right into the cardboard. I want to make sure they go all the way through, but I just need an X. And I'm making an alternating pattern here. One X on the outside, one on the inside, and I'm going to go all the way around the wreath. To put the balloons in, I'm going to take the end of the balloon and push it through that X. I'm using just a popsicle stick. You could use a chopstick or any kind of blunt tool that you have to push it through. Once I get the edge through, I can pull until the knot pops through, and that's going to hold the balloon in place. Now I'm just going to repeat this until I have the whole wreath full. Now that I have all the green up on the wreath, I hung this up on the wall just on a command hook so I can see where the gaps are. But now I want to add some red in there, and I am using some strong adhesive glue dots to do this. You could also use double-sided tape. Just stay away from hot glue or anything that takes too long to dry. This wreath needs a bow. So with a big piece of red poster board, I'm just going to draw kind of an oblong shape. It's going to have a squared off edge on one side and a pointed edge on the other. Then I'm going to fold the poster board in half and cut out 2 of these shapes. I'm gluing the middle 2 blunt edges together using hot glue. Then I'm taking the pointed edges and I'm folding them over to the middle to create the bow. I'm just using a rectangle of leftover poster board to wrap around the middle to finish it off. And finally, I'm cutting 2 smaller pieces of poster board to act as the tails of ribbon. This bow can be attached to the wreath with those glue dots. Just put a bunch of them on and you can attach it directly to the balloons. This is such a fun and festive decoration. It would look really great on a mantle or anywhere that you want to add some color and some whimsy to your Christmas decor. I hope this inspired you to create your own Christmas balloon wreath. Thank you so much for watching Home Talk.